Good evening. My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the host of the Bradley Report. Got a very interesting show this weekend. So much has happened. As you know, two police officers were shot, and one of them died in Inglewood. And by the grace of God, they was able to apprehend three people. Two of them that they charged with the murder and the uh, possible murder of the other officer. And one of the men who was responsible, he was what they called a straw purchaser. He would go somewhere and buy a gun for someone that didn't have the right to buy a gun. And that gun was used in the murder of that police officer. We're going to talk about the new commercial that Governor J.B. Pritzker has out, showing how he's been strong and shown strong leadership during the first COVID, what can I say, Passover, the global pandemic. And now we have a new variant. And I'm going to share with you that Congressman Danny Davis is considering having a hearing, congressional hearing, if you will, about the nursing homes. And I pray that he also able to convince Congresswoman Maxine Waters to have a hearing on systemic racism in the corporate world, corporate systemic racism, especially because of the United in Peace educational, peaceful educational protest against systemic racism within McDonald's. It's a national protest. And it's getting a lot of steam. A lot of congressmen from different states, especially within the Congressional Black Caucus, hopefully will come together and convince Chairman Maxine Waters to have a committee hearing on systemic racism. And the police superintendent, and he has a right to be upset with what the federal judge did. I don't know if they got the legal right to do it or whatever it is when he released that gentleman who provided the weapon to those two brothers. They brothers by blood, DNA. Those two brothers who senselessly shot those two police officers and killed one officer. This show was put together by the producer and the director of this show, none other than the chairman of United in Peace, Inc., my wife, Terry Marsh Bradley. And the technical pieces can be put together without the help and the assistance and the direction of Brother Omari. So, Brother Omari, let's go to work. If you pick up that gun and you fire that gun, anyone that get harmed from you firing that gun, that's an innocent bystander. We asking the community, ostracize them, push them out, don't let them hide anywhere, don't support them, and let law enforcement do their job. The code is this. If you pick up that gun to solve your problem, I'm not endorsing violence. I'm saying you're violating the code if you discharge that weapon and innocent people get shot or killed, especially a child or an elderly person. And the community must uphold that code.
He got his shoe shined.
The reason that it worked in the 90s, because everyone was a part of it. Kids, women, elderly, was off limits.
You didn't touch him.
Didn't touch them. Ostracized from the community, pushing you out of the community, not supporting you in the community or protecting you in the community, so that law enforcement can do their job by apprehending, and the Cook County State's Attorney can do her job by making sure that you get a fair prosecution. This is so that there's no retaliation in the community because you discharge or you fire that weapon at your intended partner. We all got to come together. Those of you, my name is Wallace Gator Bradley. I'm the urban translator. I'm the president of United Peace Inc. We all got to come together to let it be known that Black lives matter everywhere. Regardless if the police shoot somebody that's black, it means twice as much to our community when someone black is shooting someone black.
With at least 8 children under the age of 10 shot in the city in just 2 weeks, some are asking if that code still carries any weight.
There's something that we got to do.
Gator catches up with some friends on Calumet.
That 1-year-old that got killed.
His conversations of late have focused on kids getting shot. He says the rule still applies.
We as men got to put it down and say, that still exists. It never left.
We all got a responsibility.
We all got a responsibility, man.
But it never left.
I'm going to call out to all the brothers. You know what we do. Put the word on the street that this is no longer tolerated. Me and Holmes work together and we know how it works. We've been able to help individuals turn themselves in of the community, kick them out, but law enforcement to come and arrest them. Now is the time. Just like it was a video from Miss Frazier that let everybody know about the awakening of George Floyd. Somebody got a video, or we need to use our video to stop this senseless violence. And I believe that vengeance belongs to the Lord. And with that, I want to say, to God be the glory. And that's my story. You know, there's been a lot of violence in the city of Chicago. And we have to come together. You know how sometimes like-minded people can be saying the same thing, but until they publicly say the same thing in words. What do you mean by that, Gator? I know my viewing audience, they tired of senseless violence, shootings, and killings. I know my viewing audience, they tired of the abuse and the rape of women and children. I know my viewing audience, they're tired of the abuse and the robbery. I see you, caller. Caller, let me hear what you got to say.
Recall in the state of Illinois. Kim Foxx need to be recalled. We look at Ella, Ella French that got killed. The guy that killed her and shot the other person, they supposed to have been in jail. If he was in jail, you had one officer would not have be sitting up in the hospital right now, and Ella French, she would not have been dead.
I agree with
And
you.
you got-
I agree with you. I was just making that comment. How me and you gotta turn your phone off because I want to
I'm
address your
sorry.
concern. I'm
sorry,
glad
we
you
need to have
called
a
too.
recall. Get these politicians not doing their job.
I got you. I agree with you. I was just getting into that. How like-minded people are saying the same thing from their mind, same conversations. But I know you agree with me, and I agree with you with what you said. But know that the crimes that the individuals were locked up on, it required a bond. I'm quite sure if the judge had in his mind when he gave that guy a bond or gave him a lesser sentence for him to get out, that this guy would someday kill the police, he'll still be locked up. And that's what brings me to this point. Hey, Brother Mari, could you find the story where the superintendent goes off on the judge, top cop goes off on the judge? Come down, son. Come down, right there. As we try to bring that up, my brother, I thank you for calling too, man. It's good to hear your voice. I haven't heard your voice in over a year. The top cop was just as mad as I and as my caller when the federal judge let the guy go who was responsible for going to buy the gun in Indiana and came back and gave it to the individual who ended up using the gun to shoot those two officers. So like the superintendent is mad, my caller is mad, I am mad. We all need to reach out and get the state's attorney, the mayor, county board president, and the governor, and business leaders and everyone else to come out in support of the code. Don't cost them no money. The code is this: senseless shootings and killings, senseless violence, shootings and killings, the abuse and the rape of women and children, and the abuse, the robbery, and the disrespect of seniors. We got to have zero tolerance on that. We got to find, because in my opinion, everybody got good ideas. But when you look at the ideas, none of them have what I would call a consequence, cause in their agreement. What I mean by that, there's nothing in there that says if you do something wrong, you're going to be held accountable for your actions. And there's a consequence for your action. In order for us, in my opinion, we need to take everyone's plan for a solution, not a theory, a plan for a solution, and make it a blanket in order to stop the senseless shootings and killings or bringing it down. I'm speaking because I know that's what we did in the 90s. And that's because everyone came together. Church leaders, business leaders, elected officials, sororities, fraternities, Masonic orders, street organizations. They weren't about senseless shootings and killings and violence. Came together as a community. Even if we weren't speaking, we all had the same thing on our minds. That senseless shootings and killings has to stop. And it came down. We can no longer keep saying what's on our mind instead of coming with a straight narrative so that the community can join in with that narrative from our elected officials that's saying this to the brothers and sisters on the streets, whether they be in organizations or not. At the end of the day, it's their family members that's getting shot and killed. Innocent. Because of senseless shootings and killings. Brother Kahari, were you able to find that piece with the superintendent?
That piece does not play.
Okay, well, let's go to J.B. Pritzker's commercial, the governor's commercial. Go up right there.
A jump in cases of a deadly mystery virus.
The deadly new virus spreading around the world. How serious is this?
From the beginning, J.B. Pritzker knew we faced a serious threat.
We're ready to put the full weight of the state behind a full-fledged response. This is coming. We're going to have to live with it for a while, so let's get ahead of this thing.
In Washington, science took a backseat to politics. But in Illinois, we knew the stakes were too high.
This is not a time for politics. We have too much to do to save people's lives. I want to be 100% clear about what will drive my decision-making in the weeks ahead. Science.
Governor Pritzker remained focused on protecting the lives and livelihoods of the people of Illinois.
J.B. Pritzker unveiling a new effort to get personal protective equipment and testing kits in the hands of healthcare workers.
There's more help on the way for Illinois families struggling during the pandemic.
The governor announcing that the state will cover emergency child care for those on the front lines.
The governor announced a life raft for small businesses.
And when the time came, J.B. Pritzker went to work to get Illinois vaccinated.
Illinois is winning the race when it comes to the vaccine rollout.
Strong leadership helped get us to the other side of this crisis and helped bring us together as one Illinois.
From the beginning, Governor Pritzker was very present and transparent about his process in following facts and following science.
I feel like the governor was a partner with nurses and doctors and the whole medical community.
He's compassionate. He really cares about Illinois, and he's brave. You know, he did a lot of things he probably didn't need to do, but he took care of us.
It doesn't matter whether you're in a big town or a small town. Governor Pritzker guided us with leadership that got us to this point.
JB totally understood the plight of small businesses. I really don't think we would have made it without the support of the governor. In fact, I know we wouldn't have.
He trusted the science. He did what was necessary in order to keep us safe.
This was a time when we had to get it right, and Governor Pritzker did it for us.
When I ran for governor 4 years ago, I could not have imagined that I would end up leading the state through a global pandemic. Look, I may not have gotten every decision right, but at every step along the way, I followed the science and focused on protecting the lives and livelihoods of the people of Illinois. I can't tell you what pride it gives me as governor of this state to see the people of Illinois standing up for one another. We saw the fundamental goodness of the people of Illinois exists in southern Illinois as it does in central Illinois, as it does in northern Illinois. Part of why I'm running for re-election is because I watched the heroes across our state step up and do the right thing. We had so much to accomplish, and we were able to do that together. I'm very proud of all of the people of the state of Illinois, and we have so much more we can do together.
You know, the one thing that he said right in that commercial to me is that he admitted that he didn't do a lot of things right that he could have done. All the time, he refused, and he still hasn't done it, and I'm asking him to do it. For some reason, he refused to enforce the Nursing Home Care Act. Okay? When 11,000 people died in the nursing homes because of the COVID. And now with this new variant that's coming out, he still refused to enforce a law that's on the books called the Nursing Home Care Act, Section 8. That's a part of being a strong leader. And I'm saying this as a constructive critic. I'm accountable to the people who I asked to elect this man governor because I feel he's a good governor, but I know he can be a great governor. This new variant, from what we're seeing in the news, going across the country like wildfire. It's coming to Illinois. When I see the news, Illinois are the 5 top states with the most COVID infected people. Illinois is number 5. During all that time he was doing that, this young woman, could you bring that story up for me, Amari? The suit against COVID? Danny K. Davis, when he made his announcement to run for re-election, he called up a young woman by the name of Loretta Smith, Loretta Brady. And it was in reference because she's a constituent of his. And Danny Davis is calling, he's going to be having a congressional hearing on the nursing homes. Partly because of how Westchester Health and Rehabilitation Center is being sued by the families of 2 women who were infected while living there. One was among 12 residents who died there last year. In 2020, this comes from a story in April of 2020. The governor and his people knew about this then. Still, they haven't enforced the Nursing Home Care Act against the nursing homes that aren't in compliance. Okay? They tie the hands of the Attorney General. His hands are tied where he can't go in and investigate those nursing homes that aren't in compliance. He tied the hands of the 102 county state's attorneys, including Cook County State's Attorney's hands. So, Governor, please enforce that act. Kahari, could you bring down the next story about, it's in the email. Check the, let me see, Top Cop, Lottie Smith. Oh, where is it at? Bam, Lottie Smith against Westchester. Strong leadership. Go up to, where it say Danny Davis. Right there. Illinois failed to investigate nursing home complaints for 3.5 months of the pandemic. Can you take the story up a little bit, Carl, so we can get done? Right there. The date of this story is August 25th, 2020. Despite the concentration of COVID-19 deaths in the Illinois nursing homes, more than 272 neglect and abuse complaints were ignored by the Illinois Department of Public Health. The Illinois Department of Public Health knew about all these atrocities that were happening from March of 2020 to August of 2020. This was from a press release that came from the Illinois Department of Public Health director. They got rid of it says the IDPH failed to investigate complaints between March 15th and June 30th, despite laws requiring it to do so. The department admitted, right there, the department admitted in a press release issued August 21st. The acknowledgement comes a month after the Illinois Department of Public Health fired Deborah Breyer, I think that's her name, an agency deputy director who ran the Office of Healthcare Regulations. That's why I keep asking the governor to please order or ask his director of the Illinois Department of Public Health to enforce the law, not create a new law, enforce the law. In the story that we saw before this, it was made mention about the suit. In that suit that was filed, the family member, Loretta, made the decision not to sue the state. But it's mentioned in the suit and in that story, in the Sun-Times article, about the fact that the Nursing Home Care Act, Section 8, wasn't enforced. It could have saved some lives. So, Governor, I'm asking you, please, save our seniors, save the residents in the nursing homes, enforce that law so that the nursing homes can get in check to help you make sure that that variant that's going across the country don't savage the hospitals here like it's doing elsewhere. Okay, I'm about to wrap it up. Kahari, get to the next thing about Kanye West. Right there. Hit that as soon as it come up. Kanye West has a album that's coming out, and he's getting a lot of good feedback on it. One of the things that's key is on one of the songs in the album, he has Larry Hoover Jr. saying something about his father and everything else in that album. And it's my understanding, because of all this violence, he also have Lil Durk and the other rappers so they can stop fighting one another. With that, I want to say I got to wrap it up. So to God be the glory. That's my story. Governor, enforce the Nursing Home Care Act. Peace. And hey,